9 students. Assalamu alaikum class 9 students. We have started chapter number 8 nutrition from our previous lecture, and we have discussed about I have told you the definition of nutrition, nutrients, and the types of nutrients. There are two types of nutrients: micronutrients and macronutrients. Okay, and then we have discussed the table which is given in your page number 141, in which we have discussed that who are micronutrients and which elements are called macronutrients and why they are important in the life cycle of a plant. Today we will discuss the role of nitrogen and magnesium. Okay, why they play important role in the life cycle of a plant and other living things. Okay, so first we will say plants get nitrogen in the form of nitrates. I have told you how nitrates are formed when the light falls on the surface of a leaf. You all of know, and they get the air from their surrounding. In the surrounding, 79% is nitrogen present, and only 21% is other gases are present. So there is a large amount of nitrogen is present in our surrounding. When it mixed with water and air, then it converts into nitrates, and nitrates are the important uh, element for the life of plants. So plants get nitrogen in the form of nitrates. Okay, so nitrogen is a major component of, so it is a major component of proteins also needs nitrogen. Okay, hormones, many hormones are secreted in our body, so our human body also needs nitrogen. Okay, and now question is that how do we get the nitrogen? Answer is very simple. Because we are omnivores. So when this light becomes the part, when this air becomes the part of the plant, plants inhale nitrogen in the form of nitrates. These plants are eaten by animals, and we humans like to eat the flesh of animals like goat. So as this nitrogen becomes a part of our body, and it helps in the formation of hormones in our body. Okay, so it is necessary for chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll, it is a chemical which is present in the surface of a leaf, and its important function is that to absorb more and more light for the growth of the plant. Okay, and vitamins and enzymes essential for plant life. Okay, so what is the important role of nitrogen? It is an important role. It is present in proteins, hormones, chlorophyll, vitamins, and enzymes essential for plant life. Nitrogen metabolism. We also have discussed in the table the nitrogen metabolism. If you see the table, we have discussed that we can find nitrogen metabolism in the form of manganese, and we can find nitrogen metabolism in the form of nickel. It means nickel and manganese, the both elements help to fast the reaction of nitrogen metabolism. Okay, so now we are discussing nitrogen metabolism. Nitrogen metabolism is a major factor in stem and leaf growth. So when a plant has to grow, and when it needs in the growth in the stem and the leaf, at that time nitrogen metabolism fast this reaction. So too much nitrogen can delay flowering and fruiting. So if too much nitrogen can delay, okay, so it can cause of flowering, many flowers can bloom and fruits can be produced. So deficiency, it was the importance of nitrogen. Now we will discuss the deficiency of nitrogen. Deficiencies of nitrogen can reduce yields, okay, cause yellowing of the leaves and stunt growth. So it can its deficiency can cause a reduced yields, means crops not grow properly well. Okay, cause yellowing of the leaves of the plants can be yellow, and stunt growth, and it can cause of poor growth. Okay, in simple words we can say the role of nitrogen is that plants get nitrogen in the form of nitrates. First point is this. Second point, nitrogen is a major component of proteins, hormones, chlorophyll, vitamins, and enzymes essential for plants' life. And third point is most important, nitrogen metabolism is major factor in stem and leaf growth. So these 3 and 4 lines shows the role of nitrogen in the life of a plant. Okay. After that, effects of deficiency of nitrogen. Okay. If a plant is not getting proper nitrogen, so what is the problem. So deficiency of nitrogen can reduce yields. This is the first point. Okay, effects of lack of nitrogen in the body of plant can cause reduced yields. This is the first point. Secondly, it can cause a yelling of the leaves. It's a second point. And the third one is it can cause a stunt growth. Okay, so these are the deficiencies of nitrogen. Now we will discuss that effects of excess of nitrogen. But if a plant is getting excess of nitrogen, so what will be happen? You can see in this paragraph, too much nitrogen can delay flowering and fruiting. Okay, so in this paragraph we have discussed three headings. First heading is the role of nitrogen in the life of a plant. This is your first plant. Okay, it used as in the form of nitrates. It is a major component and it is present in all these things. Okay, and third, it helps in nitrogen metabolism. Okay, so from this point to this point you have discussed the role of nitrogen in the life of a plant. Then we have discussed the deficiency, causes of bad effects of nitrogen. Okay, so deficiency of nitrogen can cause, we have discussed 3 points: reduce yields, cause yellowing of the leaves and stunt growth. And the third point which we have discussed in this paragraph, that is what is the role of excessive nitrogen. If a plant is getting excessive nitrogen, so what will be happen? So too much nitrogen can delay flowering and fruiting. I hope you understand it. Now look at the box. Side box is given. Carnivorous plants. Carnivorous, we all of know that there are three types of living organisms: herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. Okay, so herbivores are those who only like to eat vegetables, who like to eat grass, and carnivores are those who like to eat the flesh of other animals, and the omnivores are those who like to eat both herbs and flesh of other animals. Okay, so here we are talking about carnivorous plants. Okay, this is very amazing fact. Carnivorous plants have evolved mechanism for trapping and digesting small animals. Okay, so there is a plant which is called carnivorous plant. Its mechanism work is that like that it traps the insects and digesting small animals. The products of this digestion are used to supplement the plant's supply of nitrogen. So when it is digesting that plant, at that time it produces nitrogen, which is important factor for the growth of a plant. Okay, so if you keep in your mind the example of carnivorous plants, you also discuss the pitcher plant. Okay, so pitcher plant, it is an example of carnivorous plants. It produces very sweet nectar on the top of its leaves. So when the insect sits on its body, it closes its leaves firmly, and because of that the insect which goes inside the body of a plant, okay, it convert into in the form of juice, and then it was absorbed by a plant. So that's why pitcher plant is a good example of carnivorous plant. Okay, now we will discuss the role of magnesium. What is the role of magnesium in the life of a plant? Okay, in the above paragraph we have discussed the role of nitrogen. Now we will discuss the role of magnesium. Magnesium is a structural component of chlorophyll. It means it makes the structure of a plant. It helps in to make the shape of a plant. So it is also necessary for the functioning of plant enzymes to produce carbohydrates, sugars, and fats. Yes, we all of know. At daytime, we in detail we have discussed in previous chapter photosynthesis. Due to photosynthesis, leaves make glucose at daytime in mesophyll cells. Okay, so magnesium is important for the structural shape of a plant. Okay, it helps, and it is an important component of a chlorophyll, and it is important for the functioning of plant enzyme. Okay, it is important for the plant enzyme which produce carbohydrates, sugars, and fats for the body of a plant. It is used for fruit and nut formation and essential for germination of seed. It is another role of magnesium in the life of a plant. It is used for fruit. Okay, so when fruits began to ripe. Okay, at that time magnesium help it, and nut formation. Okay, and essential for germination of a seed. When the seed start its life or its germination, at that time nitrogen plays very important role. Okay, so if I tell you these points in a simple words, I can say that this is a role of magnesium. So how, which role we have discussed? The first point is that magnesium is a structural component of chlorophyll. When you have to learn, you can make points on your register. First is role of magnesium. First point is that magnesium is a structural component of chlorophyll. Second point, it is important for functioning of plant enzymes to produce carbohydrates, sugars, and fats. Third point, it is used for fruit and nut formation. And the fourth point, it is essential for germination of seeds. Okay, if you want to try to learn as a paragraph, this is difficult for you. Okay, so first point is this component chlorophyll. Secondly, it is important for functioning of these things. And the third point, it is used for fruit and nut formation. And the fourth point is it is essential for germination of seed. So role of magnesium, 4 points are very important, and this topic is already very important as a long question or as a long question, a short question. Okay, now we will discuss the effects of deficiency of magnesium. If there is a deficiency of magnesium in a body of a plant, so what would be happen? So deficiency of magnesium causes yellowing and wilting of leaves. So its main symptoms are leaves began to yellow and wilting of leaves, and leaves began to wilt. It means they began to twist. They will not be stand properly. We also have discussed that in the body of a plants, due to turgid pressure, leaves veins begin to stiff and the leaves stay in the air. But if there is a lack of osmosis, they began to flaccid. But here we are talking about the wilting of the lifting, means they began to twist on the outside of their body. Okay, so these are the problems. Deficiency of magnesium causes yellowing and wilting of leaves. So this topic is very short, but if you want to learn, if you make its point on your register and learn it, this is very easy for you. Okay, now come to the next topic. Next page. This page is about your fertilizers. Okay, this is about the importance of fertilizers. Okay, this topic is also very important as a long question. I have told you from chapter 8 and 9. Question number 7, long question, comes from these chapters. A part comes from chapter number 8 and B part comes from chapter number 9. So this is very important, importance of fertilizer. Before starting the topic, I want to explain you okay, what are fertilizer. Fertilizers are those materials which help the crops to grow well. Okay, because of that crops grow well because they have mostly nitrogenous materials inside them which help the, and before starting the role of fertilizer, we have discussed the role of magnesium and nitrogen, because these two elements play very important role in the life cycle of a plant. Okay, so after that, now we will discuss importance of the fertilizers are those materials which help to grow the plant. Okay, so first we will discuss its definition given in your book. As human cultivated plants, human cultivate, it means the plants which are grown by humans. It was learned that addition of certain materials to soil sometimes resulted in plants with desirable characteristics. Okay, sometimes we when humans cultivated plants, when they grow the plant, they add some certain material inside the soil to get the to get the results in plants according to their wish. For example, a person needs more fruit, faster growth, and more attractive flowers. Okay, so for this purpose, such materials were named as fertilizers. So what is the simple definition of fertilizer? The addition of certain materials to soil sometimes results in plant growth with desirable characteristics. For example, more fruit, faster growth, more attractive flowers. Such materials are named as fertilizer. So its definition will be start. You can see in your book. It's yes. Look at here. Here written here, that addition. You will start your definition like this: the addition of certain materials to soil sometimes resulted in plants with desirable characteristics. For example, more fruit, faster growth, more attractive flowers. Such materials were named as fertilizer. This is a definition of fertilizer. If you have to mark in your book. Okay, now we will discuss the classification of fertilizers. Okay, fertilizers are further are broadly classified as organic or inorganic fertilizer. So there are two types of fertilizer. They can be classified into two categories. First is called organic fertilizers and the second one is called inorganic fertilizers. So first we will discuss the what are inorganic fertilizers. Okay, so inorganic fertilizers. First we discuss the definition of inorganic fertilizer. Naturally occurring materials which are not chemically modified are called inorganic fertilizers. What is the definition of inorganic fertilizers? Mark in your book. Naturally occurring inorganic fertilizers include, you will write like this: naturally occurring inorganic fertilizers which are not chemically modified, which you will write here which are not chemically modified are called inorganic fertilizers. Okay, you will attempt its definition like this: naturally occurring materials which are not chemically modified are called inorganic fertilizers. Okay, so naturally occurring fertilizers are, what are the examples of inorganic fertilizers? Underline the examples. First is rock phosphate, second is elemental sulfur, and the third one is gypsum. These are the examples of inorganic fertilizer. In this page it is written as a paragraph, but when you attempt in your board exams, you will give the heading of classification of fertilizers. There are two types of fertilizers: organic or inorganic. Then you will give the heading of inorganic fertilizers, and then first you will write the definition of inorganic fertilizer. Naturally occurring inorganic fertilizers which are not chemically modified are called inorganic fertilizers. After that you will give the heading of examples of inorganic fertilizers. So three examples are given in your book. First is rock phosphate. You will make the bullet and write the example. Second is elemental sulfur, and the third one is called gypsum. Okay, I hope you understand it. Okay, after that we will discuss the nitrogen fertilizers. What is a nitrogen fertilizer? Okay, you will see in your book. If nitrogen is the main element, yes, we have discussed in previous page that nitrogen is the main element of the nitrogen fertilizer. Okay, so if nitrogen is the main element, they are called nitrogen fertilizers. Okay, if an fertilizer consists of, it has a large quantity of nitrogen inside it, so that's why it will be called nitrogen fertilizer. So most inorganic fertilizer dissolve readily in water and are immediately available to plants for uptake. So importance of nitrogen fertilizers. Okay, why these are important? um, Okay, so what is the importance of these fertilizer? This is the importance of nitrogen fertilizer. Ki if nitrogen is the main element, okay, it's a definition of nitrogen fertilizer. Ki if nitrogen is the main element, they are called nitrogen fertilizer. Okay, now you will write what are the importance of nitrogen fertilizer. This is the importance of nitrogen fertilizer. Most inorganic fertilizers dissolve readily in water and are immediately available to plants for uptake. Okay, and the other importance is that these fertilizers efficiently supply the required nutrients for plant. Okay, so second important point is that these fertilizers efficiently supply the required nutrients for plant. Okay, after that we will discuss the second type of fertilizer, that are organic fertilizers. So what are the, first we discuss its definition. Organic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers are derived from plant and animal materials. They are more complex and take time to be broken down into forms usable by plants. So manure and compost are used as organic fertilizer. They can also increase soil drainage, aeration, and the ability of the soil to hold nutrients. Okay, first I will tell you the definition of organic fertilizers. Materials which are more complex. Its definition will start here. Materials which are more complex. Okay. Uh, yes. They are, you will write here materials which are. Okay. You will write here materials which. You will cut the word they and you will write here materials which are more complex and take time to be broken down into forms uh, broken into forms usable by plants are called organic fertilizers. I'm repeating the definition of organic fertilizer. Okay, materials which, you will cut the word they and you will write here materials which are more complex and take time to be broken down into forms usable by plants are called, and next you will write by yourself, by plants are called organic fertilizer. It's a definition of organic fertilizer. Now its example, what are examples of organic fertilizers? Now you will give the heading of examples. So two examples are given, manure and compost. These are two examples of organic fertilizers. Okay, after that you will give the heading, what is the origin of these fertilizers. Okay, so origin of fertilizer, organic fertilizers are, organic fertilizers are derived from plant and animal materials. This is the origin of organic fertilizer. Your heading will be origin of organic fertilizer. Organic fertilizers are derived from plant and animal materials. Okay. After that, importance of organic fertilizers. Importance of uh, organic fertilizers. Okay, so we will see in the book. They can also increase soil drainage, aeration, and the ability of the soil to hold nutrients. Okay, so what is the importance of organic? Organic have less salt, so their large amount can be applied without injury to plant roots. Uh, okay, this point is not written in your book. Okay, uh, first the importance of organic fertilizer, they increase the soil drainage, aeration. Second point, it has ability of the soil to hold nutrients. And the third point, which is not given in your book, but this is very important, organic fertilizers have less salts, so their large amount can be applied without injury to plant roots. If they have less salt, so they can directly apply from the body of a plant to for the growth of a plant. Okay, now look at a box. This box is very important for your MCQs. The distinction between the organic and inorganic fertilizer is not always clear cut. That distinction means the difference, the importance. Okay, the distinction between the organic and inorganic fertilizers is not always clear cut. Why? Because urea, you have to underline, this is very important for your MCQ. Urea, for example, is an organic compound. In this topic, we have discussed about the organic and inorganic fertilizers. Inorganic fertilizers are those which are not modified, which are not chemically modified, in which no chemical is present inside them. And organic fertilizers are those in which we add some materials inside it to increase its capability. Okay, so the distinction between the organic and inorganic fertilizers is not always clear cut. Urea, for example, is an organic compound. Organic compound, it means it is chemically modified, but chemically synthesized urea is generally grouped with inorganic fertilizer. But when we group them, when we put them in different groups, it comes into inorganic fertilizer. So this can comes into your board exam. Urea is an example of. Okay, and in options you will take the correct option will be is an example of organic compound or organic fertilizer. Is it clear? So you have to underline for your MCQs. Now your next, I hope you understand it. We have discussed the definition of fertilizer. Okay, these are the such materials which are important for the growth of a plant. We have discussed it can be classified into two groups: organic fertilizers and inorganic fertilizers. Inorganic fertilizers we have discussed, these are such materials which are not chemically modified. Okay, and we also discussed its example: rock phosphate, elemental sulfur, and gypsum. And then we have discussed about the fertilizer which have a large amount of nitrogen inside them. They are called nitrogen fertilizers. And we have discussed the importance of inorganic fertilizer because these fertilizers dissolve readily in water and are immediately available to plant for uptake. Okay, and we have discussed that these fertilizers efficiently supply the required nutrients for plant growth. Then we have discussed organic fertilizer, the materials which are more complex chemically substances that take time to be broken down into forms usable by plants are called organic fertilizer. Its examples are manure and compost. And we have discussed its importance because it is very important. Organic fertilizers have less salt, so their large amount can be applied without injury to plant roots, and they can also increase soil drainage, aeration, water holding capacity, and they can increase ability of soil to hold nutrients. Okay, now the next topic is that environmental hazards related to fertilizers. So first of all, what do you mean by hazard? What are dangers which fertilizers can be faced due to environmental situation? Okay, so now we will discuss the massive quantities of inorganic fertilizer cause different environmental hazards, which are follows. The massive quantities of inorganic, mostly inorganic fertilizer face critical situations to the soil nutrient holding capacity. Okay, so first point is that which is given: soil nutrient holding capacity. Soil nutrient holding capacity. The massive quantities of inorganic affect the soil nutrients holding capacity. Soil nutrients holding capacity. This is your first point. The soil nutrient holding capacity, their high solubility also degraded ecosystem through eutrophication. Okay, so this is the first point. The massive quantities of inorganic fertilizer affect the soil nutrients holding capacity. Second point is the eutrophication. The high solubility of fertilizer also degraded ecosystem through eutrophication, means an increase in chemical nutrient, chemically compound containing nitrogen or phosphorus in an ecosystem. This is very important for short question. For your board example, define eutrophication. It always comes in board exam. So what is eutrophication? Its answer is given in the given in your bracket. Increase in chemical nutrients in an ecosystem. If there is increase of elements in ecosystem, it can cause of eutrophication. So you have to underline in your book. Third is that emission of greenhouse gas. Okay, and third point is that emission of greenhouse gas. What is that? Storage and application of some nitrogen fertilizers may cause emission of greenhouse gas, nitrous oxide. Storage and application of some nitrogen fertilizer. If we store nitrogen fertilizer for a long time, it can cause of emission of greenhouse gas. And the fourth point is soil acidity. Okay? And the fourth point is that soil acidity. Ammonia gas may be emitted from the nitrogen fertilizer. The extra ammonia can increase soil acidity. Okay, soil acidity. Next point is that soil acidity. Ammonia gas NH3 may be emitted from applied inorganic fertilizer. This extra ammonia can also increase soil acidity. Fifth point is that pest problems. Okay, excessive nitrogen fertilizers can lead to pest problems by increasing their reduction rate. And the last one is nutrient balance. It is recommended the nutrient content of the soil and nutrient requirements of crops are carefully balanced with application of inorganic fertilizers. If nutrient balance is not balanced, it can cause of hazards for the fertilizer. So you can see it is recommended that the nutrients content of the soil and nutrient requirements of the crop should be calculated before the application of inorganic fertilizer. So excessive amount of organic fertilizers cause environmental. Okay, so these were the hazards. Yeah, unstable हो रहा है. So keep in your mind, now your lecture has been ended. I hope you understand it. Today we have discussed the role of nitrogen and magnesium, fertilizers, and environmental hazard related to fertilizer use. So now your lecture has been ended. If you have any problem, you can raise your hand and ask the question.